What's up, everybody? This is Britt with the IRC Buzz, and I'm excited to shoot another episode today. I have one of my good friends, Miguel Salazar. What's up, Miguel? How you doing?
What's up, Britt? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming in, dude. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
So Miguel and I actually have a history. I mean, not only that we love working out here in the gym, but we've actually done a competition together. So that was a fun time. To just get started here, how about you introduce yourself, just maybe a little background for those that don't know you.
Okay, so as Britt said, I'm Miguel Salazar. I live here in Lubbock. I grew up in a small town, Sundown, and I'm actually an educator. Been in education 17 years, and they've all been at the same place. I'm a high school principal now at Rolls. I've been that for the past 9 years. So graduated from Sundown, went to SBC 2 years, went to Tech. That's where I earned my bachelor's in mathematics. And then I went on and earned my master's in education administration from LCU. And I've also attained my superintendent certification. So I've got a lot of schooling.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess, with all that school. So
pretty impressive list there.
Yeah, at some point I definitely, and I haven't spoken this into existence, but I was talking to my daughter about it the other day, but I think I'm about ready to go back and earn my doctorate in education. So I think I'll probably get on that sometime in the near future, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's incredible. So a lot of schooling. Where did you go to school?
I went to Sundown High School. Yeah, about 45 miles southwest of here, small 2A school.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Nice. So in Sundown, just a little bit about your background. I'm guessing you played some sports there, smaller school.
Yeah, so in small school, that's kind of what keeps you out of trouble, and I definitely needed a lot of help with that back in the day. So I definitely had a lot of people encouraging me, and definitely played all the sports that I could. I did football, basketball, track, powerlifting. Those were the four main sports that I played. So
yeah. Which one was your favorite?
I definitely enjoyed powerlifting. That was a lot of fun. But football is king in West Texas, man, so I have to go with football.
Yeah. Smart choice.
Yeah.
Solid choice. Nice. So you went to Sundown, and then you said you went to school at LCU, right?
Well, I went to SPC. And Tech initially, so for my undergrad stuff. So growing up in Sundown, we're only 15 miles from Levelland.
Yeah.
And so actually when I finished high school, I started off at SPC, and then I went ahead and did my 2 years at SPC, and then transferred over to Tech and finished up in 2004. Graduated in 2000 from high school, and then finished up at Tech in 2004. So
yeah, nice. That's awesome, man. So what school did you like? Like after high school, what school did you like the best when you went to like after high school? South Plains, Tech, or?
Well, a lot of it was, I mean, just being honest with you, like most of the kids in my town went to the oil field. Mm-hmm. Like Hispanic men were expected to get a job after high school. And that was the pressure that I had as well. But I knew there was something bigger and better for me. And I knew that I didn't want to have to use my hands to work the rest of my life. I knew that there was something up here that I could capitalize on and say, I think I want to use this because I feel like this is going to last a lot longer than this.
Yeah.
It just is. And so math had always kind of come easy for me, and SPC was just there. It was available, and that's honestly why I went with it. Like, it wasn't me filling out applications and being in the top 10% of my class and applying to all these fancy schools. Like I didn't know anything about that. I'm a first generation college student as well.
Yeah.
My mom really pushed me to pursue my education. My dad really pushed me to pursue a career in the oil field. And I actually did it every summer while I was going to school. So I would work on the pulling unit in the oil field during the summers when I was going to school.
Oh, wow.
But I knew initially after that first summer, like right when I graduated from high school, I went to the oil field. And after those 4 months, I'm like, yep, I'm out of here. I'm not going to be doing this the rest of my life. I was miserable waking up in the mornings. And I just knew there was something bigger and better for me.
Yeah.
And it was good money. But I just saved that money for the school year. And when I went to school, that really helped to motivate me to come back to school every year and to finish.
Yeah.
So, starting school is easy. Most people can start school. And as a principal, I see that a lot with my own kids from Rawls is we have a lot of kids that will start school, but there's not a whole lot of them that are finishing. And why? What's that disconnect of why they're not accomplishing that goal of completing school? And I had that motivation of, I don't want to be in the oil field the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so that's really the reason I went to SPC. Nothing fancy, nothing extravagant. It's just, it was there 15 miles away, and I knew that's what I needed to do with my life and not be in the oil field.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is crazy. So you did your basics there for 2 years?
I did.
And then got your associates?
I did. And then, honestly, when I got there, I wasn't real sure what I was going to do. Again, math had always kind of come naturally to me. And so I started getting into exercise sports there as well, taking some of those classes and something that I just really enjoyed doing. And I'd always heard, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. People had told me that growing up, and I'm like, what is that for me? I have no idea what that's going to be. And so I pursued my degree for mathematics because that was just kind of like the plan B. That's like, if nothing else, I have that I can fall back on. And so I ended up pursuing that. And those exercise sports science, I was always really interested in how the muscles worked and how everything that pertains to exercise sports science was always just a thing for me. And then when I got over to tech, I did that for the 2 years, and that's when I really pursued the Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. And at that point, I honestly thought, I'm probably going to get my master's in mathematics.
Yeah.
Like this is the goal for me.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I'll probably end up being a college professor, teaching mathematics, teaching like Cal 1, 2, 3, stuff like that. And the more I got into the exercise sports science stuff, I'm like, coaching, what about coaching?
Yeah.
Is coaching for me? And I've always kind of been a natural leader. When things are not going right, I'm usually the first one to step up and say, hey, let's do this. You guys follow me. I'll take lead on it. And so with all of that, I think it was just the perfect storm, and God knew exactly what he was doing with me, that I was to be a leader of men.
Yeah.
And when I became a coach at Rawls, that's what I felt, that this was my calling. And I know as a young man that was a first-generation college student, I didn't have a whole lot of direction in my life educationally, because not that my parents didn't want me to go to college. They wanted me to go to college, but that was the extent of it. They didn't know how to get me there.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of my teachers and coaches that really pushed me early on and helped me to believe that I can do anything I want. Like, again, as I told you before, it wasn't normal for kids my age or during that time to pursue education when they got out of high school. And again, I had a coach that really took me under his wing and made me believe that I could do anything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that if I wanted to be and pursue my education, that I could do exactly that.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever really said that to me outside of my family besides, oh, Miko, you can do whatever you want. Well, it takes a little more than that to get to college and go through college. It's somebody that's gone through college to say, you can go to college.
Yeah.
I made it through college. You can make it through college and be successful. And so it really took somebody like that to really, get my wheels spinning about pursuing something other than going straight into the oil field.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's hard, especially, when you finish high school. And like you said, and we both know, living in this area and working in the oil field in general, that financially it's a draw there. And it so is. Be a young man right out of high school, like, oh man, I can make some decent money, and people still make really good living, working in the oil field.
Oh yeah.
So that's interesting that even with that being there for you, that you still wanted to pursue, your education, which
Absolutely.
Is awesome.
And I think another obstacle, and I feel like I've had to overcome so many obstacles in my life. After my freshman year of college, realized that I'm fixing to start a family. I had my daughter Alyssa between my freshman and sophomore year of college, and again, it would have been real easy for me to say, throw my hands up, got to make money.
Yeah.
I'm going straight oil field now.
Yeah.
But I knew that in the long run, that wasn't what was going to be best for my kid.
Yeah.
And so that, again, that to me, I use that obstacle as another motivator to say, it's time to get serious about finishing this school stuff. You need to get your degree. You need to go off and get a good job with a degree in your hand, not just throw your hands in the air and say, all right, it's time to make money. Let's go to the oil field. That would have been the best short-term plan, absolutely.
Yeah.
But long-term, I knew that I needed to finish. And so, again, even with that obstacle of starting a family that early, which wasn't something I would wish upon anybody, because it was very difficult. College was not fun for me.
Yeah.
It was hard. I worked all the time. I went to school all the time. I actually started to take my schooling seriously, and I made decent grades, a lot better in grades in college than I did in high school. In high school, I messed around a lot.
Yeah.
But when I got to college, I had a focus, and that's what I needed.
Yeah.
I needed a good focus like that, a good obstacle in the way. I guess that's how I perform best, is when I'm pressured.
Kind of held to the fire.
Yes, that's the only way, and that's the only way I learn lessons too. Unfortunately, is to be held to the fire. So, yeah, it's a tough way to live, but that's been my life all my life. So,
all right. So when you started college, how long did it take you from, you mentioned your associates, your bachelor's, and then your master's, and then you even mentioned your superintendent
certification.
Is it called certification? Okay. So how many years did that take you?
Well, so I graduated 2000. I did 2 years at SPC. And when I went to Tech, again, I already had a family. And so I had to figure out, how am I going to do this? Because most people that go into education go student teaching. Well, student teaching, the only thing I heard is you're not getting paid to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't afford to do that, guys. Like, I have a family at home. I've got to be able to provide for them. And so I actually earned my degree. So I got a Bachelor of Science in Math. I was an exercise sports science minor. And then I took education classes on top of all of that, but not towards my degree plan, because if it would have been included in my degree plan, it would have had to include student teaching in order to receive that minor. So I didn't even minor in it. I took all the classes because I thought I can do an internship. After that, I can do some type of alternative certification. And so I did. I finished in December of 2004, so that was 4.5 years. And I got the job in Rawls, and they took me on to complete my internship. And so I did that. And it's a year-long internship is what it ends up being. And I was able to do that without ever having to do student teaching. So as soon as I started in Rawls, I was getting paid to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So again, thrown in the fire, no student teaching experience. I'm a full-time classroom teacher. I had my own classroom, and I went into a classroom that already had bad habits established. I went in December. Their teacher was leaving, and they're like, "Oh, it's a free-for-all."
Yeah.
And then here comes this 22-year-old from Tech.
I was gonna ask how old you were, because
22.
Going in a situation like that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm grateful that I was able to survive my first year, and I had a really good mentor teacher that has since passed, Ron Green, and he really helped to instill the why I'm in education. And it's for the kids, and it's for the passion for the kids, and kids are going to twist off, but I had to remember I was a twist when I was in high school too. I was tough to deal with, and somebody decided to love on me, so that's what I need to be for my kids.
So you went in
what I did.
Yeah, you went in teaching. So what were you teaching that first year?
So I taught algebra and geometry, some of the lower level high school things.
Yeah.
And then he passed away, and he was the upper level math teacher. So as soon as he passed that following year, I'm like, okay, that's me. Like, I want to be the calculus teacher, pre-cal, honors geometry.
Yeah.
So that's what I ended up teaching after that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. And then so you first got into Rawls as a teacher, and then you had a transition into coaching, right? Or did you start coaching that first year too?
So when I got on, I just replaced a teacher, and it wasn't a coach teacher, so I was just a teacher. But very early on, I told the administration there that I really want coaching. I want to be a part of the kids' life. I want to be able to see them more than just in the classroom. And so the following year was actually my first year coaching. So I coached football, basketball, track, powerlifting, all the things that I played in high school. So.
Yeah. Okay, nice. So when you got involved in like teaching and coaching, which one did you kind of like, I guess, lean towards more that you enjoyed?
Honestly, they were both. They both brought challenges and both brought excitement to me, because I love math. I know most people hate math, and I'm okay with that. You guys can have your own opinion.
Yeah.
I love math. I love teaching math. I love seeing kids figure stuff out on their own. I love for them to be able to show me how they come up with solutions to problems, because I was that kid that would never just do what the teacher was doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, let me show you another way to get there.
Yeah, an alternative.
Yeah, and a lot of my fellow buddies, well, not my buddies, because those morons didn't even pay attention in class, but other people in class, they'd figure something out, and teachers are like, no, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is a lot of times teachers wouldn't understand how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my challenge is, how did you get there? Let me figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, tell me about it. Show me how to do it. And so that's always been a big thing for me is I'm not just teaching X's and O's. I'm teaching kids how to think.
Yeah.
And if they can show me their thought process and how they came up with solutions, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And so they're able to overcome, and it's the same kind of principle that I teach out in athletics. You teach kids how to overcome. When they don't think they can do something, you push them towards that. So honestly, I'm one of the weird teachers that actually enjoyed both of them the same. I wasn't just looking forward to athletics. I was looking forward to coming to school and teaching math.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. That's awesome, because I know it takes some dedication, especially doing both. And I know a lot of teachers and educators, they have to take that on with teaching in the classroom and then, turn around in the afternoon leading, practice. And so then traveling for the games. I mean, it's a pretty involved profession.
It is. And with us in Rawls, we're doing junior high and high school. So sometimes early morning workouts were for junior high because we couldn't bring them in after school because we were dealing with high school kids at the time.
Yeah.
So it started early and it ended late.
Yeah.
And I found out real quick that, I went to college to make my life better, but I was actually spending less time with my family by doing what I was doing. And so I did 3 years of coaching, and that's the most hours I've ever worked in my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'd have a 6:30 practice with junior high or 6:45, and we'd get home at 8 o'clock at night. It wasn't uncommon.
Yeah.
And that was every day.
Yeah.
And during football season, we had games Thursday, games Friday. We worked all day Saturday. We worked all day Sunday. I think in a 5-month span, I had 1 day off.
Wow.
To coaching football. It's a lot.
Yeah, so
it was a lot.
It's very involved when you're a coach
very
and an educator.
Time committed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes, it's a huge time commitment. So anybody considering going into coaching, you need to understand that, because you got to remember what it was like being an athlete in high school, and how often were you at school? You were at school all the freaking time.
Yeah.
Now imagine being a coach. The coach is there before you, and they stay when you're gone.
Yeah, and then working on stuff outside of school.
Right. So
outside of school.
It feels like I've been in high school for 20 years straight now.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like.
You just never left.
Yeah, I never left, which is good, because sometimes my maturity level requires that. So
yeah, my brother, he's the head coach there in Brownfield, and he's been coaching for a while and teaching. So I know he's just always on the go. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But I don't know personally how it feels, but I see other people doing it.
Yeah, it's a huge time commitment.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. And if you're not enjoying it, you're going to be miserable.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a lot of time. But me, I enjoyed the time. I just didn't like the time away from my own family.
Yeah.
And so that's why I had to make that change.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you were coaching 3 years, and then now in the position you are now, you transition into actually becoming the principal.
Right.
How did all that shake out? Curious.
Well, you asked me about being a teacher and how I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. And I was in education at a very turnkey moment, and technology was just right there at our fingertips. And it was just a matter of investing and figuring out what's going to work in the classroom and incorporating it into your classroom. And it was an easy transition.
Yeah.
But most people weren't willing to do it because it required work, it required failure. I mean, you definitely know what it's like with technology. Is a lot of times you figure out what doesn't work before you figure out what does work.
Right.
And it's the same thing with technology in the classroom. And so I started to utilize a lot of technology in my classroom. administration at Rawls had given everybody a MacBook. We had received like $1 million grant, and so we had all these MacBooks. Apple came in and provided all this PD for us. It was great.
Nice.
And with that, I really became like the forefront or the leader of utilizing technology in the classroom. I would have teachers come into my classroom to see how I was utilizing it. I have other schools coming in. Their administrators would come in and see how I was using it. And so through all of that, I had already gotten out of coaching. I think the year was 2009, 2010. And I'm praying, asking, all right, what's next? What am I fixing to do? And I really thought I was going to get my master's in math at the time.
Yeah.
And so I prayed about it, talked to my family. All right, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not kidding you, a week later, my principal at the time comes in and says, hey, I've got a grant that's going to pay for either a number of people to go back and take some technology courses, master's level technology courses, or I can invest it all in one person. And you can actually earn your education and administration master's degree, your master's in educational administration with the technology strand, if I just give it to one person and I want to give it to you.
Oh, wow.
And I was just blown away because, it's something my faith, I'm very strong in my faith, and I had prayed about it, and I thought, all right, God gave me an answer, and this is what I'm doing. I'm pursuing my master's in math. And then here a week later, I have somebody coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to pay for you to get your master's in educational administration. And I'm just like, what? I guess this is the direction that I need to go. And so I actually earned my master's in 1 year.
Yeah.
I was I was just teaching at the time. I had already gotten out of coaching. So in 2010, I was taking 4 classes every semester. I was like a full-time student while still having a full-time job.
Wow.
And so I actually earned my master's from LCU in 1 calendar year.
Yeah.
Because it was all getting paid for.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It sounds like a busy time.
Oh, man, it was rough. But again, I work better under pressure when I'm to the fire.
Yeah.
That's when it seems to be I get the most out of myself when I'm put in situations where it's put up or shut up, basically.
So after you did that pretty much laid the land of you transitioning.
It did, and so shortly after that, a position became available for me to become the assistant principal. So I did that for a year in 2011, and then the principal at the time ended up moving over and becoming the superintendent, and so then I transitioned into the principal role at that time in 2012. So
2012.
Since then, that was my first year as principal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and how old were you then?
I think I was 29.
Okay,
28,
still,
29.
Still very young to be a principal.
Yes.
So that's incredible.
I get it all the time. You don't look like a principal. Like, I'll go to games and they're like, you don't look like a principal. I'm like, what is a principal supposed to look like?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Or I even get this one, you're too short to be principal. I'm like, oh, good God, here we go.
Uh-oh,
yes.
short.
Oh, yeah, I get it all the time. All the time.
Wow, so you've been 8 years, right?
9 years. This is my 9th year.
Wow. Awesome. And so Rawls, I know you work there in Rawls, but you actually live in Lubbock.
I do,
right?
yes.
So,
yes.
But the commute is what?
It's 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's honestly a good time for me to prepare for work as I drive up there, and then when I come back, I'm able to decompress. And it's been healthy for me to not live where I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you normally do on your drive? Do you
listen to podcasts? Yeah. I'm not I enjoy music, and sometimes I'll get into gangster rap if I'm really having a rough day at the gym. I'll listen to gangster rap, but and I've got a 14-year-old, and that's his music of choice too. So sometimes I let him take control of the music.
Yeah.
And good God, sometimes I have to tone that stuff down. But he's all about that gangster rap now too. So I enjoy music, but I'm a grower. I definitely am always looking for ways to grow, whether that's, the stuff that I read. I do a lot of self-help books, leadership books.
Yeah.
and that's just really important to me, that my mindset is one of growth. And so to me, I'm always looking for ways to grow, and it's not just certain times. Like, growth is part of my everyday life. If I'm on social media, I follow a lot of stuff that's going to help me grow. I don't follow a lot of trash stuff. I follow a lot of inspirational quote stuff, stuff that's based on my faith, stuff that's based on even movements. You know, I was working on muscle ups, and I've been doing all kinds of movements here that I've tried to get better at, and I watch videos on it. You know, on the just the basic philosophies of different movements
and progressions and things like that.
Yeah, all the technical stuff, and so I'm always learning. Everything that I'm exposing myself to is something that's going to help me get better, and trying to filter that trash out. I'm not about the gossip. I'm not about I don't care about any of that stuff.
It's easy to get caught up in that.
It can be. Absolutely.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I enjoy listening to podcasts and sometimes it's just dumb stuff. I listen to Sore Losers, which is like a branch off from the Bobby Bone Show. Yeah. And those guys don't really even talk sports. It's just regular life stuff, and it cracks me up. And so sometimes that's just, sometimes you just have to veg out, honestly. So
yeah. Nice. So I guess now transitioning, we got all the background of your education and now your profession, what you're doing, which is awesome, principal at Rawls. As far as coming to the gym, we'll kind of shift gears and talk a little bit about fitness now. Okay. Coming to the gym, I guess early on, because you've been here for, is it 4?
Well, here's the thing, Brent. Like, you guys send out the emails that say, "Hey, this is so and so's anniversary." I haven't seen my anniversary on one.
No.
Yeah, look it up. Go back and look. I think I started in June or July. I think I started in the summer.
In the summer?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what year.
Yeah.
I think I've been here 3.5 years.
I was gonna say 3.5 or 4.
Yeah, but no, I'm not on the email list of, "Hey, happy anniversary to Miguel." Go back and look. See when you can find one. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because the thing is, though.
Oh, here we go.
Your email address.
It's always been the same.
But it might be a little outdated. You got the SBC Global.
I do. I know. I still get email because you still send me bills, and I still get those bills to that email. So don't.
Oh, that's true.
You guys don't believe this guy. This ain't gonna work.
All right. Okay.
So sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Now that Miguel kind of put me on the spot here, kind of blasting me, but 3.5 years. When you first started, how did you find the gym? What was that process like of wanting to come try it? And maybe just touch a little bit, maybe about your first experience, and maybe why you were looking for this type of fitness. You know, for you at the time.
At the time, personally, I was going through a lot of stuff. And I'd always been the guy that works out by himself, put the headphones on. I'd be the guy wearing the Beats headphones in the gym. I don't go talk to anybody. It's like my time to get away from things. It allows me to process things different when I'm at the gym. And I've always just enjoyed pushing weights around. That's always been a thing for me. I was a powerlifting coach, and I've already invested so much time and effort into learning what weights do, what movements do what's going to help you build strength in different areas. So as a powerlifting coach, I kind of had a pretty good foundation of fitness in a weight room. I was very comfortable in a weight room. And I'd never been the group fitness guy. I'm always like, I don't know about all that. Like, there's too much talking going on. There's not enough lifting going on, and I'm here for the lift. I'm not here for the chatting. Yeah. And so I was actually exposed to this gym, through somebody that knew about it. I think it was Victor and Melody Baeza. Yeah. And I think they had told my brother Isaac and Norma at the time, and then they told me about it, and I'm like, I don't know about all this. So I remember calling up here, and some girl, Mimi, answered the phone. They're like, "This is Mimi." I'm like, saw you guys on Instagram, and I was hoping to get signed up for a class. She's like, "Absolutely." And she took my information down and told me when to show up. And so when I showed up, of course, this is pre-pandemic, and there's probably, 15, 16 people. Yeah. And this is back when we used to do warm-up lines and stuff. And so I got here, and it was a little intimidating at first, and not so much from the pushing weights around aspect, because I'm very comfortable doing all that stuff. But socially, it's just coming into a new environment. Yeah. It's all these people. I have no idea who anybody is. And actually, the first day I came, I was recommended to this place by Isaac and Norma, and I don't even think they were here on that day. Yeah. And so I'm here basically by myself. I know nobody here. Yeah. And I wasn't a group fitness guy. But I'm thinking, all right, I need to give this thing a chance. Yeah. Instead of just being by myself, because I have such a growth mindset, I'm like, how am I getting better by me being in the gym by myself and doing exactly what I want to do? Because here's the thing: if I don't feel like doing core that day, guess what? I'm not gonna do.
You're not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do it. Yeah. If there's a hard workout and it starts getting really tough, and there's something that I'm like, what if I just scratch that part of it out? Yeah. Guess what I do? I just scratch it out. Yeah. And so that was my biggest draw to come in here, is having another set of eyes on me as I work out. Maybe somebody can see something that I'm doing. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but it doesn't always work out that way. And so having an extra set of eyes on me, and I've always enjoyed being in athletics in high school. And that was a group setting. Yeah. I'm like, why am I so against being in a group setting when that's how I've always done things all my life? And so that was a big part of it, is just having that growth mindset of, if I'm going to do this by myself, I can't catch myself doing everything. I can't motivate myself always to do something. So maybe I should come to a group setting and figure out what it's all about. Give it a chance. And so that's what I did. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it a week. Yeah. Well, I'm a very committed person. Like, I'm either all the way in or I'm out. I'm not just, I'll come every once in a while. Like, if I'm going to commit to this, this is going to be a full-time commitment for me. And so, after the first couple times, socially was the hardest part of it all for me. It wasn't so much the fitness part; it was the social aspect. And then once I just started making connections here and there, it just made it so much easier. And then before I knew it, I was looking forward to coming to the gym, just like I was looking forward to going to the gym by myself. Yeah. And before I knew it, I became the group fitness guy. And I'm like, what just happened? Yeah. And I really enjoyed the camaraderie of coming over here, just the positive environment. And I'm all about positivity. I hate to be around people that are negative all the time. Yeah. And there's not many of those people around here. Yeah. So this place is filled with people that are going to bring me up. Sometimes I'm having rough days and I can come to the gym and it's just a completely different setting. Oh, yeah. I can come to this gym and I'm not Mr. Salazar. I'm Miguel. Yeah. And I don't get to be Miguel in a lot. In a lot of my life, majority of my time is spent as Mr. Salazar. So coming over here is a nice breath of fresh air to just make myself a better person, a better father, a better employee, a better brother, everything, because mentally it just allows me to not necessarily escape, but really just to face things that I deal with. Yeah. And a lot of times, it can happen on the long run. It can happen while I'm here in the gym working on something, so focused and prepared to do something that it just allows my mind to really think and process, maybe what's happened throughout the day or what's coming up. And it just mentally, it helps to keep me sharp as well. Yeah. That is cool that you talk about that, because I think a lot of people do kind of forget about that side of just working out and just moving in general, getting that blood flowing, like you said, and just mentally, it kind of opens things up, and it, you might come up with an idea or something, even just, like mid-workout or after workout, and you're like, hey, I never thought of that. But. Yeah. People that I work with, they always get annoyed because I'll start off a sentence with, hey, as I was working when I was working out yesterday, I thought of something. And they're like, oh, great, now you're going to talk to us about your workout. I'm like, well, I'll tell you about my workout if you want, but I really want to talk to you about this idea. But it happens pretty frequently. Yeah. That just to be away from it, it's very easy for people to just, I work long hours. I don't always get to come up here to the gym. And when I get home, it'd be real easy for me to just sit on the couch. Yeah. And sometimes I make that mistake of sitting on the couch, and when that happens, I'm done. Yeah. I'm out. And so coming to the gym is a really good thing. So first of all, I have to get myself to the gym. So that's already a success to get here. And now once I'm here, I'm the person that I just try to put everything into everything I do. Yeah. I don't try to do anything halfway. And so I'm here. I really focus on what it is that we have going on for the day. And by doing that, it really just opens my mind up to other things that I have going on in my life, sometimes personally, sometimes professionally. And again, just that this is just as much a mental game as it is a physical game.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff we do is not heavy weight. It's just a lot of repetitions. And you just have to push yourself to get to that point.
Yeah, just kind of grind through it.
Yeah, and in the process, you'd be surprised what it opens up. One, it just gives you the confidence that you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to get through a workout, whatever problem you're facing that day, you're like, okay, now it's time to attack this thing.
Yeah.
I just took that down.
Yeah.
Now it's time to come take this down.
Oh, for
so
sure.
it just gives you even the confidence
Yeah.
to be able to take on whatever it is you're dealing with. And sometimes afterwards I'm like, that's not as big a deal as I was making it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. Like, why am I so afraid of this? Why am I so worried about this? Why have I put so much pressure on myself about this? Just go and do it.
Yeah.
And so that mental part of it is definitely, to me, it's honestly more beneficial than the physical that I receive here. So
yeah, and a lot of people, like I mentioned before, forget about that, and even just building up that mental toughness. And I know you being a coach, being in high school, playing sports, and I know we talked about this even before we started recording here, but even just building up kids and character and with athletics and sports, how beneficial that is, and all the life lessons you learn being part of a team and just pushing yourself through some of those tough situations. Because when in life you're going to face those same things, it's going to come up. And like you mentioned with the workouts, if it's something that it's a workout and you're approaching the end of it and just kind of mentally like, hey, just pushing through, try to get finish it, get through it. So that's pretty cool. So as far as so you met Mimi early on. She introduced you into class.
Yeah.
What was something that you really enjoyed as far as, like, I know we talked about all the mental stuff, but as far as movement, I know you stay very active. What's some of your favorite kind of movements you like doing?
So working out by myself, I was very powerlifting mode all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do all the basic powerlifting movements, a lot of barbell stuff, dumbbell stuff, but that was about it. So some of the stuff, even with the barbell movements, it wasn't everything. So like one of the movements here that is kind of been it's been a tough one to learn is the snatch.
Mm-hmm.
And the snatch has been something that I've really enjoyed doing the better I get at it.
Yeah.
Early on, I was very frustrated with the movement. I couldn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But again, having that growth mindset of, all right, this is something I'm going to get better at.
Yeah.
And then all the rig stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one to do pull-ups on my own. And so doing a muscle up is something I worked on for probably a year before I figured it out. And the crazy thing is, I see other people doing it and I'm like, I know I'm stronger than them. How are they freaking getting up there? But it's not about strength.
Yeah.
It's about learning how to control your body. So a lot of the core stuff that we do is exactly that, is you're controlling your body.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to do a muscle up is exactly that. It's the timing, it's the movements. It's not about strength. Strength has this much to do with it. Everything else is from mental to swinging movement to picking your hips up at the right time. Like it's crazy how technical those moves are because I've done some muscle ups and I just pop right up there now.
Yeah.
And other times I'm like, and then I'm chicken arming it and, working my way to get up there and I'm having to muscle myself up there and it just doesn't work very well. So a big part of that has just been trying to get the stubborn out of me, and it's hard, and I get it. And coaches, I apologize because I know sometimes you guys are telling me, hey, quit bending here, do this, quit. And I know, I promise you, I'm not just doing it and trying to make you mad. I'm really trying to do it. I just, having control of your body is not as, and for some people it comes naturally. For me, it really isn't. I really have to focus on it. I've told a couple things. I guess I'll get into this now, but so when I first started here, I would do a lot of things and I wasn't following the coach's advice. And so, like doing a clean and jerk. Well, my clean and jerk was a straight up push press. Straight up. I wasn't using my legs for it at all, but I was able to push up all kinds of weight. I could push 225 up on a push press and not get into the clean and jerk of it, not do a split jerk, just straight, I'm going to push it up there. And then I started to plateau. So I started to get, like 245, I could get it here, and I couldn't push it up any higher. And I never, no matter how hard I worked on it, I could never get those. So I met my maximum. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to get better at this, I'm going to have to start taking the coach's advice. I'm going to have to start doing some of those movements. So because of that, guess what happened to my weight?
Yeah.
It dropped down to like 165 is all I could do and on a push jerk.
Yeah.
And so I'm really focused on following all the movements, being very technical with it. So I'm slowly working my way back up. I think I got 205 the other day doing a split jerk.
Uh-huh.
And that's, again, just taking the coach's advice and then watching videos and trying to get better at it. But again, not having control of my body, I'll get so focused on something, and I've done this a number of times with the clean and jerk. And I don't always get to work out here. My schedule just gets crazy.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll work out at a different gym where I'm able to just do weights by myself. But it's happened to me twice now where I'm doing clean and jerks, and I'm so focused on everything else that's happening, and I push the bar up and I forget to get my head out of the way, and I've hit my chin. About concussed myself the last time I did it.
You told me that last time.
Yes. And again, that goes back to knowing your body and how to move everything. And that's something that I've really had to focus on and learn here is with all these gymnastic movements that I really enjoy doing and I want to get better at. Handstand walks is something else that I'm really looking to get better at.
I know you've really, you definitely have progressed.
Yes.
And now, I've seen you practice when we do some of those workouts.
Yeah.
And man, that looks, that last open workout, it still has your name on it, man, because that's your workout there with all the handstand walks.
Yeah.
But what's cool about everything you're talking about is just like for you, you've been doing this 3.5 years, give or take some
Not
months.
according to my email, but go ahead.
But even being a coach, powerlifting, and still hearing you talk about how you're still working on stuff.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about, fitness in general, and then also just the functional side like here, because there's always a place to improve. You talked about that growth mindset, and it's always, there's always something you can work on to get better, and which I think is awesome because you're more likely to stick with something like a routine when you're always trying to progress in some way, instead of even when I was working out early on before kind of getting into the style of fitness where I had like a set workout.
Oh yeah.
And I'm I'll do 10 reps of this. 10 reps
Monday
of this.
is Tuesday is this.
Yeah. But then it's like, man, I keep doing the same thing, and then like I'm not seeing results. And it's like, well, I keep doing the exact same workout, or very similar variations. So that is interesting that even for you, still continuing to work on some different movements that, with the gymnastics and then like the lifting part of it, the snatch. So that there's always room for improvement everywhere. So
absolutely. And that's the thing too, is when I come here, like I'm trying to push myself all the time, and doing those. Even yesterday, we had the opportunity to do clean and jerks, or we had the opportunity to do snatches. And snatches is just a place right now that I'm really trying to improve. And so I chose the harder route yesterday, and I made my life a little more miserable by choosing to do the snatch. But again, that's what it's about to me. I'm looking to grow. If not, then why am I here? This is a place for me to grow. And so I appreciate the opportunity that I have to do exactly that. The encouragement that I get, and anytime I'll visit with the coach, like yesterday it was with JC, and I'm like, all right, JC, what did you do yesterday? So it's having people that you can look up to say, all right, you guys lead the way and I'm going to follow. And that's what I get from you guys here. The coaches are really pushing me for me personally, we are in a group setting, but they invest in me as an individual as well to say, hey, why don't you try this? Hey, why don't you really try to push yourself by doing this today? And so that's something that I've definitely appreciated, is even though we are in a group setting, I get a lot of individual attention here that is helping me to grow as a lifter here. So I appreciate that from you guys, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's cool to hear too, because obviously your fitness level compared to some other people, everyone is at a different stage in their fitness level. And so that's what we try to do here is really try to touch on everyone and where they're at and kind of meet them where they're at. And, somebody coming in like, like you're working on snatches, and you technically you can do the movement really well, and I know you're still working on that, but for somebody coming in, like it don't make sense for you to do a snatch today.
Right,
Like, you know, don't even try it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
and some people might not even have the desire to do the snatch at all.
Right.
So, and that's cool too. So,
you know, one thing about that is, you know, as I got into this, I'm like, all right, this is just going to get easier.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get easier. What you're able to do is more weight and more reps.
Mm-hmm.
It still feels about the same. Now I don't feel like I'm dying like I did when I first came in, because cardio is not part of my life. It just wasn't. And that's another thing of coming to a class like this is it forces me to do things I wouldn't normally do on my own.
Yeah.
And part of that is the gymnastics movements, and then another part of that is all the cardio that we do, and it drives me nuts, but I know that's what I need, and I know that's what's actually going to make me better on the gymnastic movements is the cardio that I'm doing. Yeah. And so, you know, some of the words of encouragement that I give to others, because, you know, as part of this group fitness, I feel like that's my job as a part of this team, is to encourage others, especially those that are first coming in, just to understand that don't try to compare yourself to other people here in the gym. All you've got to do is be better than you were the last time. Yeah. All right, what was the last time you did clean and jerk? How much weight did you push up? How much did you do today? That's all you should care about. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You hear all those weights moving around. Don't worry about that. You just focus on you and get yourself better. Yeah. But even as you go through the workouts, they don't necessarily get easier. You're just able to handle more. Yeah. You're able to do more rounds. You're able to do more repetitions. So that's been a huge part of it, is understanding, you know, for those that are considering coming to a gym like this, is be ready to start probably a little lower than you expect, especially even if you're a fitness person. I was a fitness person, and where I started, I'm like, wait a minute, this is all I can do? Seriously? Like, I don't know how to do that movement. I don't know how to do, you know, even having like the rope climbs. I about blew my bicep out the first time I did a rope climb because I wasn't using my body correctly. Yeah. And so that's something I've tried to learn pretty quickly, is listen to the coaches. They know what they're talking about, and follow their lead on stuff like this. But yeah, that's where I am with it. It's about growth, and individuals that come in here, that's what their focus has to be. Yeah. It has to be about growth. And if you're starting movements with PVC, who cares? Yeah, right. Who cares? Yeah. We'll get some weight there, I promise.
That's what I always tell everybody too, you know, like somebody coming in and seeing Miguel working out right next to him, you know, it's like everyone started somewhere. Like, and it's with anything in general, you know, the more practice, the more effort. And I tell everybody all the time, consistency, you know, you're going to get there. You just got to stick with it, have a positive mindset, you know, be coachable, have fun, you know, because the workouts, they get tough, but, you know, we try to make an atmosphere where it is fun. You want to look forward to coming, like you said early on, that, you know, looking forward to coming to the gym. And so, you know, that's just going to help you that's just going to set you up for success, because you look forward to it. I get to move, I get to work out, instead of like, crap, I got to go work out because, you know, I want to maintain my body weight. Or so just, it's a mindset thing too, you know, and shifting your mindset a little bit in that looking in a positive light. So, but that's pretty cool about everything that you're working on. So moving forward for Miguel, what's some things you're looking forward to, that you're working on? I know education, you got quite a bit under your belt. Yeah. And you did mention that you were thinking about going back to school. Yeah,
at some point in the near future, I think it's time for me to pursue my doctorate in education. So that's something that'll be on my plate. I don't know exactly when, but I feel it in my heart that that's the direction God's pushing me, is let's get a little more schooling done. I thought I was done with school, but I think I'd like to pursue and get my doctorate. Yeah, that's awesome. If nothing else, you know, just to show others that it's possible. Yeah. That it doesn't matter where you come from. That if you put your mind to something, you can do it and you can be successful. There's no secret to success. It just comes with hard work and determination and dedication, and even if you have an obstacle in your way, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to overcome it. Yeah. And you know, everything that I put into my life is going towards that. Yeah. So me coming to the gym is not a waste of my time, because while I'm here at the gym, I'm doing exactly that. I'm still overcoming adversity here at the gym. If you've never been through a good CrossFit workout, you'll get to a certain point and you're like, I just want to quit. I just want to give up. I just want to get my stuff and I want to leave.
Yeah.
And to be able to have that mindset that I'm going to push through it, just helps you in every aspect of life. Because again, when you encounter a problem that you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, you kind of revert back to what you've already been doing in your life. And if this is part of your daily life that you're being putting yourself in a position to overcome, and you're setting yourself up for success, it just helps every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And one thing I haven't touched on is just being here in this group setting. As I work out, sometimes I'm just not having one of those days and I'm not very inspired, very motivated. But being around the people here at the gym, how can you not be inspired? We've got so many people here that have had their own battles that they have faced, that I have seen personally by being here at the gym for the last 3.5 years. I mean, a big shout out to Bert. Like, Bert is such an inspiration. He's somebody that I tell people about outside of the gym, that for Bert to do what he does with the things that hold him back, absolutely inspiring. I'm like, I'm complaining. Look what Bert's doing.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah.
Bert is a constant inspiration when I see him at the gym. His positivity is infectious. It's contagious. And just his mindset of he can do anything. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. And he's going to attempt it. And if he fails, who cares? Yeah. He's going to do it again. And to be like that, he's my hero. Bert, you're my hero, man.
Shout out to Bert.
Shout out. He really is. He's such an inspiration. Yeah. Akash, I got to see Akash go through what he went through. You know, he set his mind to do something, and he did it. Yeah. And during the summer, it gets hot. And Akash, that's kind of when he started that journey of, I'm wanting to feel better, to look better. And so he did. And so he set his mind to running a mile after every workout. And it was part of that, the challenge that you guys had. Yeah. But even when that was over, he continued it because that was his goal. And to see him doing that, I'm just like, man, Akash, that's awesome. Like, that's inspirational that you're able to put yourself in that right mindset, that regardless of how tough those workouts are, you've got one more thing to do afterwards. Yeah. And you did it. You did it every time. So seeing Akash, that's also been a very inspiring thing, that whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. Right. I know that I don't really even know, I didn't know Vanessa and JC before I started here, but I know that their journey, just from seeing things on our Facebook page, like, those two have gone miles, miles and miles and miles to get where they are now. Like, their fitness journey is an incredible story. And so having those two ladies at the forefront of all of this is just, it's a great way to lead a group of people looking to better themselves, because they have gone through the fire themselves. They're not just talking the talk, they have walked the walk. And so they're just, knowing their story is also just very inspiring, to know that if you put your mind to something, you can do it. Is it going to take work? Absolutely. Is it going to be blood and sweat and tears? Absolutely. Yeah. But it's worth it. Right. It's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, and it takes you looking back, and it might take some time. It's success. A lot of the times isn't instant.
Oh, yeah, never is. So anything worth having is not going to happen overnight. So, yeah, well, you mentioned all that, and you see the transformations. You see how much progress people have made, with their journey. It's incredible. But I do have to say, Miguel, I'm a little disappointed because you didn't mention my name and my transformation. I'm just kidding. Britt, you started off like me. We already started at a decent place that we didn't have just a whole lot. Now it's just perfecting and getting better at things that we already do.
I still reminisce about Tough as Nails when we killed that one workout. We got first place. That's going to be my story, from here on out. We got the handstand push-ups. And, competing with all those other, beasts.
Oh, yeah, those fun times. Yeah. Those good times.
But awesome, man. Well, I think that's all the time we have today. I really appreciate you coming in and talking shop and just sharing your story. I mean, incredible what you've done, as far as your position. Like you mentioned, just being a leader and continue to strive. I mean, for you still wanting to continue push that envelope of growing and getting better. And I know you mentioned a lot of people in the gym And one thing to me too, with a lot of the members, and then you being especially one of them, is looking up to you and what you've accomplished, what you've gone through, and like you said, just how busy you are, but you still make time, and put your health and fitness at the forefront and making sure that that's a big part of your life. So that's it's been pretty awesome, man.
That's one of the pressures too is, when you kind of set that level, you set that bar, set that expectation, it's hard for me to come into the gym and not reach that every time that I'm in here.
Yeah.
Especially, that's kind of a motivator for me is I come in here and people are expecting me to do something, not because I'm a show pony or anything, but they're like, I'm striving to become and do what he's able to do.
Yeah.
And if I'm over here taking the day off, now I've let them down, and now they're like, oh, well, he doesn't even care, so why should I? So that's the added pressure for me that I never know who's watching me.
Yeah.
And that's not being facetious or cocky or overconfident, but my goal is also to push myself, especially if there is somebody watching me, that I can hopefully inspire somebody else as well. And I hope that I can be that for other people that, look at him.
Yeah.
So I can't take days off either. So it doesn't matter where you are in journey. There's no days off for somebody that's continuing to grow.
Yeah.
I can't take days off when I'm here. And I used to joke about it all the time that, Bert would be like, hey, take it easy today, Miguel. I'm like, no, if I want to take it easy, I'll just stay home.
Yeah.
I'm here to work.
Yeah.
I'm here to work. So
what is one thing too, this mantra that we've started really latching on, but effort over everything. And that's just, showing up and putting in the effort. You might not have your best day in the gym. You might not have your best day at work, but if you put in the effort and just say, hey, you know what, I'm doing my best, and I'm going to, consistently, I'm going to keep trying like that. Kind of goes into what you're saying. So that's pretty cool to hear you that when you're coming in, it's that I guess people like, looking and getting motivated and building off each other's energy, which is
absolutely.
Awesome. So
yeah, you're like, hope, one day I want to be able to lift as much as he's lifted.
Yeah.
Well, if I got the peanuts on there, I'm not going to motivate anybody. So, but you just got to listen to your body too. You can't come in here and just be too prideful that you're not getting the movement down. So take some of the weight off.
Right.
If on squat you're not getting low enough, take some of the weight off.
Yeah.
That's not a knock on you either, Bert. Don't worry about that.
Oh, the shout out and the dig, all in one podcast.
That's just what I've heard, Bert. I haven't seen it with my own eyes.
One last thing, I know as far as like just, continue to work on things, I know you ran a half marathon.
I did.
And that was during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Let us touch on that just real quick.
Okay, so
I
had been working towards completing a half marathon, and this was before the pandemic started. And so I had a regimen of running so many miles. I was only doing it one day a week on top of still coming to the gym here. And so I would spend Saturday or Sunday as my long day. So it started off as 5 miles, and just slowly over like a 2.5 month period I progressed where I would run 5 miles, next week 5.5, and I just worked my way up to running 10 miles. And that was going to be the workout to lead towards running a half marathon. Well, the pandemic hit, and it was the middle of May, and I was set to run 10 miles. So I take off, I start my 10-mile run, and when I started getting to about mile 8, mile 9, I'm like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm done training for this half marathon. It was really a thing that I put the pressure on myself that, can you run a half? I'd never run one before.
Yeah.
And so it was like a goal of mine to be able to get to that 13.1 miles. And so I just worked my way up to it. And when I got there, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be doing something if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. I was starting to get miserable running so many miles. And I enjoy running, but like 5 miles is my cap. I don't want to be doing just a whole lot more than that. And so on that day, I'd gotten to mile 8, and I'm like, I'm just getting it done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. I'm going to put a check mark next to this after today. So I just kept running, and I ended up running the 13.1 on a random Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Just running here around town because I live here pretty close.
Yeah.
And so I was able to just check that off, and I completed it. And it was absolutely mind over matter.
Yeah.
I got to about right when I got to mile 10. everything started shutting down. And those last 3.1 miles were an absolute mental game, more so than the physical.
Yeah.
But I was able to do it, and again, prove to myself that whatever I put my mind to, I can do it.
Yeah.
There's not many things that are going to stop me.
Yeah.
And again, that's part of my fitness journey, is setting a goal and reaching it and crushing it.
Yeah.
Because it just helps me to be able to deal with and face everything else that I'm facing and dealing with in my life.
Yeah.
And just getting that extra boost of confidence that I can do whatever I set my mind to. It's, again, this fitness journey for me is more the mental than it is the physical.
Yeah. Yep. It's a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. Awesome. Well, I guess no marathons in the near future,
Nope,
right?
That's it. No mas. No mas.
All right. All right, Miguel, thanks again for coming in. Really appreciate your time, man. And we will talk to you on the next one.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Britt, thanks for having me on.
Yep.